home. And missing you made me stronger. Then I'd be Superman. If I fly around the world, it wouldn't take me longer than it would to be your man. I fight 1,000 guys.
This is VL Extras, where we chase the wildest edges of innovation with a visual spark. Today we're taking a bit of a U-turn from robots to biology. The genome is one of the greatest marvels of nature. Every living thing on Earth is made up of a sequence of genes that characterizes and determines how we look, behave, and interact with the world. Decoding this mystery of life is one of the hardest things to crack since the dawn of science. But in the age of AI and fast computing, where everything evolves at a much faster pace, mysteries that would take centuries to solve will now take mere minutes. Well, look no further than Evo 2, a generative AI so massive it's rewriting the rules of biology. This isn't just science, it's a foundation for the future. If you're new, smash that subscribe button and join our crew of curious minds. Picture a quiet lab, late 2024. A bioengineering professor named Patrick Hsu leans over a screen, DNA code flickering, and whispers to himself, "Is DNA all you need?" That question wasn't just curiosity, it was a dare. Hsu is a child prodigy turned bioengineering titan. Growing up in the 90s, he was the kid dismantling gadgets while his friends played Nintendo. At UC Berkeley, he dove into CRISPR, co-inventing tools to edit life itself. But Hsu dreamed bigger AI that doesn't just tweak genes but understands them. In 2021, he co-founds Arc Institute, a nonprofit betting on fearless science. Cut to 2024. Hsu's pacing Arc's Palo Alto lab, stacks of genomes towering digitally around him. His first stab, Evo, trained on 2.7 million prokaryote DNA sets, shocks the world, spitting out a brand new CRISPR system from thin air. It's a hit, but Hsu's restless. DNA's the key, he insists. Evo was the spark, Evo 2's the inferno. Picture this. Hsu rallies 50 brilliant minds, Arc's biologists, Nvidia's GPU wizards, Stanford's Brian High, even OpenAI's Greg Brockman on sabbatical. They feed Evo 2 a feast, 9.3 trillion A's, G's, C's, and T's from 128,000 genomes across life's tree. Bacteria from Arctic ice, rainforest fungi, human cells, it's all there. Built on StripedHyena 2, an architecture that laps up 1 million nucleotides like candy, Evo 2 isn't just bigger, it's smarter. Hsu's gamble? Train it raw, no hand-holding, and see if DNA alone unlocks biology's playbook.
Nvidia just dropped a new model called Evo 2, and it's basically like ChatGPT but for DNA and biology. So here's the deal. Imagine having an AI that can read and understand the genetic code of literally any living thing. Like, it knows about humans, plants, bacteria, everything. They trained it on so much DNA data. We're talking about genetic info from more than 128,000 different species. The cool part is what it can actually do. Like, if doctors are trying to figure out if someone has a genetic risk for breast cancer, this AI can look at their genes and spot dangerous mutations with super high accuracy. It's getting it right 90% of the time. Think about it. This could help create better medicines, understand diseases better, maybe even help design new treatments that only work on the exact cells that need fixing. Pretty amazing stuff for the future of medicine, don't you think? And for more AI stuff, follow 100x.
February 12, 2025, Evo 2's preprint hits. 65 pages of jaw-dropping proof. Hsu's team, bleary-eyed from months of coding and coffee, watches it nail BRCA1 mutations, 90% accuracy, spotting cancer risks faster than any lab. It's not guessing, it's learning transcription sites, protein folds, intron-exon lines, like it's reading biology's mind. Unlike AlphaFold 2, built for one job, Evo 2's a foundation model, a blank slate for endless tasks. Arc's CTO Dave Burke grins on a call. This is biology's operating system. We've barely scratched the surface. Brian High's eyes light up. Whole organisms next, not just molecules. Let's make it real. Meet Lisa, 42, a mom staring down a BRCA1 scare. Traditional tests take weeks. Evo 2 flags her mutation in hours, guiding doctors to a plan. That's not sci-fi, it's now. Evo 2's open source. On Nvidia's BioNeMo and GitHub, free for any researcher with a dream. It's designing yeast chromosomes, bacterial genomes, even gene switches that fire only in liver cells. Hai's voice cracks with excitement. Imagine therapies with no collateral damage or crops that fight climate change. Hsu's original question echoes, DNA might be all we need. StripedHyena 2 lets Evo 2 scan 1 million bases, 3 times faster than old models. Nvidia's 2000 H100 GPUs crunched this beast. Brockman tweaked it to see DNA's long game. The result? It's not just predicting, it's generating. A yeast genome here, a bacterial tweak there, all from raw code. Arc's Evo Designer UI makes it an App Store plug in your idea. Get a genome. X explodes. Evo 2's rewriting life. But whispers linger. What if it's too much? Zoom out. Evo 2 could slash drug timelines, cancer cures in months. Green tech? Plants sucking CO2 like champs. Hai's voice haunts me. Whole organisms. Picture designer ecosystems or bioengineered humans. Hsu's not here to play Small Arc's non-profit heart and Nvidia's muscle scream ambition. It's a collaboration of giants Stanford, Berkeley, UCSF, Liquid AI 50 authors betting DNA's the key. The preprint's a map. Evo 2's the compass. Where it points? Nobody knows, not even Hsu.
Evo 2 can kind of act like a chat GPT or a generative model for the genome and propose new variations of biological sequences that can improve some downstream function. So this function could be designing a protein that acts as a therapeutic, or designing a protein that degrades plastic or that cleans up oil spills.
At its most fundamental, Evo does resemble a language model. The first big difference is the data. Language model works on typically sentences or chunks of language. Evo works on DNA.
A DNA language model trained on DNA from microbes, from mammals, from plants, from all sorts of organisms that have been sequenced.
Biology is very complicated, and it's written in a language that humans can't understand. These A's, C's, G's, and T's, it's a foreign language to us. What we're trying to do with Evo 2 is actually make biological design much more easy for the average researcher.
In DNA, often you have to have hundreds or thousands of base pairs in order to encode a single gene, just one gene. But any one of those base pairs, if they change, may be functionally important.
The model can understand which mutations lead to certain diseases and which ones might be more neutral. So, for example, we show that the model can identify certain mutations in BRCA1, which is a gene that's often associated with breast cancer. Another practical application is in using Evo to do design tasks.
In the same way that ChatGPT can generate realistic human language responses to a human language input, if you give Evo a DNA input, it will try to generate realistic DNA outputs. This is very exciting because it opens options in various synthetic biology applications.
Say you want to design a new protein sequence, so you can actually prompt the model with a piece of DNA and then just generate new versions of this protein by using Evo 2 to auto-complete the genome. And when it generates these variations of this protein, you can test all of them in the lab and potentially identify new proteins that have a better function of interest. And proteins are very useful because they're these molecular machines that accomplish many important biological functions.
All Evo 2 models will be open source. The data will be open source. The training infrastructure will be open source. The inference infrastructure will be open source. This is a change compared to a lot of model releases across the board.
It's all open for other people to build on, apply to their use cases, and hopefully to enable community-driven development.
And we also think that models are safest when they're open, so that the community can actually evaluate them and see their strengths and their weaknesses. We envision this model really being a foundation for other models in genetics or in synthetic biology, where people can build applications on top of Evo 2 and the entire community can benefit.
Evo 2's landed a generative AI for the genome, born from one man's question and a team's audacity. A lifeline for Lisa, a canvas for dreamers, or a leap we can't control. Tell us, drop your take in the comments, hit like if your brain's buzzing, and subscribe for more VL extras. Is DNA all we need? Evo 2's daring us to find out. We'll keep you locked in visual style. Catch you next time!